Madam President.
Senator from Kansas.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise this afternoon to celebrate the passage of the 6888 Congressional Gold Medal Act. This bill honors the women of the only all-black, all-female unit to serve overseas during World War II as part of the 6888 Central Postal Directory Battalion. The passage of this legislation is long overdue and will award the Congressional Gold Medal to these brave women of the 6888 for their devotion to duty, military service, and their extraordinary efforts to boost the morale of personnel stationed in Europe during World War II. Today, it's easy to connect with our loved ones through texts and emails or social media. Communications is more convenient, and consequently, many of us take the ease of that communication for granted. But during World War II, the only connection people like my mom and dad had while my father was deployed in Europe was our mail system. The mail delivered love and inspiration to our troops, huddled in foxholes and fighting for our freedom. The mail kept them going through the dark and troubled times of World War II. The mail anchored our troops and connected them to home. The women of the 6888 delivered the mail, though the deck was stacked against them from the start. While crossing the Atlantic to Europe, the troop convoy carrying the 6888 encountered German U-boats, forcing the convoy to take defensive actions and change course. And shortly after their arrival in the European theater, a German V-1 dove at them, forcing them to take cover out of fear of being bombed. Physical dangers aside, the women of the 6888 faced sexism and racism. In Birmingham, England, the very same soldiers the 6888 were committed to helping spread vile rumors just because they were black women. On top of the physical dangers and the social injustice they faced were the challenges of the mail mission themselves. Handling and sorting the mail was no easy task. The 6888 found warehouses crammed from floor to ceiling with mail whose delivery was long overdue, sometimes over years. They found giant rats tearing apart the undelivered Christmas care packages. There was little, if any, organization. They had to sort this mail in poor working conditions, warehouses that were poorly lit, damp, and without heat. Undeterred, the women of the 6888 rolled up their sleeves and dug in. Fixing the mail backlog was estimated to take at least 6 months, possibly even a year, and the 6888 organized the millions of letters and packages in just 3 months. They firmly believed in the motto, no mail, low morale. Their diligence, their commitment to excellence, dignity, and class, and their relentless drive to get the mail to the hands of the troops won them admiration throughout the European theater. Their actions boosted the spirits of thousands of soldiers like my dad by reconnecting them with their family and friends back home and giving them a renewed vigor to fight. I want to thank Representative Gwen Moore and Representative Jake Turner for leading this effort in the House, and I want to thank my colleagues in both the House and Senate who have supported this bill and made awarding the Congressional Gold Medal to these brave women possible. Lots of challenges. Black women serving in the military, only ones seemingly willing to volunteer to go to Europe to meet the needs of those who serve. I'd also like to thank Colonel Edna Cummings for her dedication to make certain the stories of these 6888s are remembered and honored. In 2018, I was at Fort Leavenworth in Kansas to dedicate the 6888 monument. I was honored to meet these women and was inspired to make certain more Americans knew of their incredible service during World War II. Of the over 300 members of the 6888, I'd like to recognize and thank the surviving members and make sure their names are included in the congressional record. Hilda Griggs, Anna Robertson, Romay Davis, Crescentia Garcia, Fanny Griffin McClendon, and Lena Kings. The 6888 served our country selflessly and were a crucial asset in the war effort. This is one more way our nation can say to these incredible women, thank you for your service, we respect you, and we love you. It is my honor to celebrate the passage of this bill today. Madam President, I ask unanimous consent that my following remarks appear separately in the record.
Without objection.
Vladimir Putin is a thug, and is solely responsible for the invasion of Ukraine. Putin, I condemn him, and he's even being condemned by his own people in Russia for a growing alliance around the world. There is nothing that justifies Russia invading Ukraine. This is the most significant intrusion from one country to another since the beginning in the 1930s of what resulted in World War II. I pray for the safety of the Ukrainian people and a rapid end to this unprovoked war. As we hear stories about their bravery and resolve, I'm inspired by the dedication to defend their freedom. The United States is making it clear we stand with and support them. This war is a terrible tragedy, but it is also a wake-up call for the United States of America. When it comes to defense spending, energy production, and humanitarian assistance, our commitments to these issues demonstrate our commitment to global security. We must recognize that we have adversaries who seek to use force to recover claimed territory. They possess weapons of mass destruction and otherwise disable our country and our allies and partners. For those of us in Congress to ignore these threats would be derelict in our duty to preserve American security and prosperity. We would be derelict to the people of the United States of America. This recognition begins with a strong national defense. It's unacceptable that we have failed to pass appropriations for the Pentagon, State Department, and other national security agencies essential to protecting and projecting our strength abroad. As a result, new programs necessary in meeting the challenges in the years to come are stuck in limbo. The classified briefings for the Appropriations Committee, we have heard about the advances in the militaries of our adversaries, the advances they are making, and it is alarming. For 6 months, Congress has imposed a spending freeze while other countries press ahead. When the latest continuing resolution expires in 10 days, we need an agreement on this spending, and we should not allow, and we cannot afford, another delay. As we prepare to receive President Biden's budget for the coming fiscal year, it will be important that his top-line figure for our nation's defenses exceed inflation. Mackenzie Eglin at the American Enterprise Institute writes that $2 to $4 billion are being lost per month to cover inflationary costs, reducing the buying power of our military. President Biden must take this into account. He famously said, "Show me your budget and I'll tell you what you value." When it comes to our national spending, our enemies are watching also. Our values extend to our concern for the people impacted by this war. Russia's war with Ukraine is already a humanitarian calamity. Children have been killed and wounded, families split apart, and some flee, and some loved ones stay. As of today, this conflict has created nearly 400,000 refugees, and the UN predicts that number could climb to 5 million. I commend our European allies for their response in welcoming refugees, and I expect our own nation will be generous with financial support for those seeking safety. But this war will have a humanitarian consequence that goes beyond those directly impacted by the fighting. Ukraine and Russia account for more than 1/4 of the world's wheat production. It's impossible to believe that such production won't be impacted by the fighting and sanctions, especially as we've seen ports close. This will make food shortages around the world more severe. No government in the world is as generous with its resources for international food assistance than the United States, but I again point out the excess production of our American farmers that can be shared. There really is no excess production. The need is so great. Whatever we produce will feed people. Our government should utilize the resources of its farmers and promote stability where hungry societies are fragile. Russia's aggression must also be a wake-up call to our dependence on foreign oil. Prior to invasion, the United States was directly paying Russia prior to the invasion, the United States was directly paying Russia, our third largest supplier of oil, around $70 million per day for oil and refined products, or over 700,000 barrels of petroleum products per day. We are financing, with our oil purchases, the ability of Russia to do harm around the world. combined with our European allies, where they were even more providing the money for this intrusion. Our European allies are even more dependent upon Russian energy, and Putin's profits before the invasion were $330 million each day. We are subsidizing aggression in Moscow, and it extends to the Middle East as well. This must end. I believe in an all-of-the-above approach to energy production, and our oil and gas producers must play a role. The Biden administration should reinstate the Keystone XL pipeline and promote common-sense solutions that boost jobs at home and keeps money out of the pockets of our adversaries. It also would be helpful in our battle against inflation here in the United States. Each of these challenges can be met if we in the Senate are unified in purpose. The American people and the world view this body as divided, unable to come together on many important issues. I don't believe it has to be that way. I certainly stand willing and able to work with my colleagues to find a common ground as we respond to this invasion. We know lots of examples we can point to which we do work together and pass critical legislation. We must find compromise and immediately move on sanctions legislation. We must pass defense appropriations. We must focus on an all-of-the-above energy strategy to address our dependence on foreign oil. We've done it before, and we can do it again. Winston Churchill, in my view, the most inspiring leader of the 20th century, I thought of him as I watched Ukraine's own inspirational president and the response of his people, and I share today a quote from Churchill that meets the occasion. Very few wars have been won by mere numbers alone. Quality, willpower, geographical advantages, the command of the sea, and above all, a cause which rouses the spontaneous surgings of human spirit in millions of hearts. These have proved to be the decisive factor in the human story. Americans of all stripes share that human spirit with Ukrainians today. I ask God to bless Ukraine and its people, and God bless the United States of America as we do our part to support their people. Madam President, I yield the floor.
Madam President.
Senator from